Two, three.
Turn it up.
Coming to you live from behind the pine curtain, this is 903 Sports. I am your host, Cameron Brown. I am joined today by Hunter Shattuck and Mason Cudd. Unfortunately, we don't have Trent Sansom with us today, but hopefully we'll have him back next week. We'll full house to talk about Super Bowl and all that. But today I want to start off about the big sports story right now is this Larry Nassar guy, the U.S. gymnast, women's doctor, sorry. And apparently he's got this huge scandal going on. This is one of the worst sports scandals since the Jerry Sandusky thing. He had over 150 women come to the stand over the last couple of weeks to talk about the things he's done, how he's assaulted them, and all that. And I mean, this guy is just the lowest of the low. He's got a 60-year sentence for some other charge he has before this, and now he's got 40 to 175 years for this sexual assault charge on the gymnast team. So I hope the guy rots in jail for the rest of his life. I mean, this is awful. The judge told him today, looked the guy dead in the eye, and she said, I just signed your death warrant. So I thought that was pretty cool. The judge showing no remorse for this guy. And I read today the guy didn't really show a whole lot of remorse in his trial. So hope the guy rots in prison forever. It's an awful thing, and I felt like we should just touch on it before we got into the NFL stuff. So you guys got anything else to say about Nassar?
Yeah, I'll say something.
You go ahead.
So I mean, it's been blowing up on Twitter. Everybody's talking about it, and I mean, it's just an absolutely horrible thing that's going on, and the fact that it was going on for so long and so many people were affected. I mean, it's easy for me to sit here and say, I mean, how does nobody do anything? But so like my point being that everybody's talking on Twitter like so and so came forward and this guy's horrible, Michigan State's horrible for letting this happen, whatever. But man, nobody's talking about how do we make sure this isn't going on anywhere else.
Exactly.
Like, I don't see any constructive talk about anything, and I don't know where you would even start with something like this, you know. But I mean, there's got to be something more than just bashing Michigan State, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, what happened there is absolutely horrible, but it's not like the whole university is just scum now. So let's stop bashing Michigan State and start actually thinking of a way to prevent this horrible thing from happening ever again.
Exactly. Mason, you got anything else to say?
Yeah, Hunter, I agree that something, like this should, I think for all these girls coming forward and, testifying and things like that, that should be encouraging for other people, in the same scenarios. If that's going on, that could encourage them to come out and, share the news and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Larry Nassar, it's just a horrible story. And I'm reading right here that he committed sexual abuse against girls as young as 6 years old.
Wow.
I mean, that's ridiculous. And the whole story is just awful, and that's all I got to say about it.
It's so sad to me because a lot of these girls, like Allie Raceman and all them, they've worked their whole life to get to this big stage to play in the Olympics for their country, and then this happens, and that just ruins your whole experience about the Olympics. You probably never want to think about that again.
Yeah, much more than just the Olympics too. I mean, that's just...
Yeah, Cameron, she's a gold medalist.
Yeah, I know, and it's just really sad. I mean, this guy ruined all those girls' lives, and I hate this happened, and I hope this guy, like I said, I hope he rots in the worst jail cell in the world. He's a scum of a human being. But let's go to a lighter note. Let's talk about the NFL this weekend. Let's talk about New England Patriots 24-20 victory over the Jaguars. They were down 20-10 with 9 minutes to go, and Tom Brady leads them to comeback. Another classic Tom Brady comeback. Brady was 26 for 38, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns. What I was impressed with this week, guys, was Blake Bortles, 23 for 36, 293 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, Bortles played pretty well. Everyone was talking about how Bortles was going to collapse and wasn't going to show up in the big game, and I thought he played really well this week. So my question to you guys is this game, was it more about the Jaguars' collapse in the fourth, or was it more about Brady's greatness? Hunter, I'll start with you.
I I'd love to give you a direct answer, but I think they go hand in hand. So I would say that the whole game, even though Jacksonville looked like they had the whole game under control, everybody knew that the Patriots were at least going to make a run, right? I mean, nobody really knew that, or nobody thought Jacksonville was going to keep running away with the game. I mean, that's just absurd to think that Tom Brady and the Patriots are going to get blown out at home. That's just not going to happen. We've seen too many times Tom Brady lead a comeback. So we knew how good the Patriots were. So that's a big part of it, is the Patriots' greatness coming back. But because Jacksonville knew how great the Patriots were, they may have flinched, you know? So I think those two go hand in hand. And that's something that you see a lot. Like even in college basketball, I was watching I don't know, this a week or so ago, the Kansas West Virginia game when West Virginia was killing them. And then the moment Kansas started to make a comeback, the faces on the West Virginia players changed. I mean, the whole demeanor changed. And it's the same thing that happened in Jacksonville. It's like you knew that you were beat. Even when they still had the lead, you just knew. In the back of your mind, you're like, okay, this is Tom Brady. This is New England Patriots. We're going to lose this game. And that's just all it came down to, I feel like.
You just kind of know what's coming. You know Brady's going to score some touchdowns in the fourth.
Yeah, exactly. So, and even like you said, even though Blake Bortles played really well, and I'm not going to take anything away from him, he did play really well, much better than anybody could have hoped. But at the end of the day, you still have Blake Bortles as your quarterback. So it's not like it's not like you have a whole lot of confidence in your offense to keep putting up points. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just.
Well, New England scored that first touchdown with like 8 minutes to go or 9 minutes to go, and I could see Jacksonville kind of tense up a little bit because you know Brady's coming, and then their offense just didn't look the same as it did the first 3 quarters of the game. They just Bortles threw some good passes. New England just made plays, and New England was just the better football team. And so I personally think it's more about Brady's greatness. 2 touchdowns in the last 9 minutes of the game. What is he? 41 years old. I mean. The guy Father Time is not catching up with this guy. He's still making huge plays in big moments. He's got the Patriots back to another Super Bowl. So personally, I think it's about Brady's greatness. Mason, what do you think? Jaguars collapse or Brady being great?
Oh, I think it's 100% Brady being great. I mean, yes, I think the Jaguars did fall apart, but I think it's because of Tom Brady. Because I mean, that first half, I mean, y'all watched that game. I mean, it was a great game. And Jacksonville felt, like Hunter said, like more in control of the game. And, yeah, I mean, New England was lucky to score those 10 points at halftime. And, yeah, I mean, I'm looking right here. New England went 3 for 12 on third down in the game. They had only 46 rushing yards. I mean, the Jacksonville, like, if watching that game, I think that Jacksonville still would have won that game, but I mean, New England 14 points in the fourth to win the game. I mean, that's just Tom Brady written all over it to me. And Danny Amendola, oh my gosh, I mean, he was incredible, making incredible in that last game winning touchdown, the tiptoe on the back line.
Oh, that was an incredible catch.
Yeah, my dad actually said today he was talking about how he reminded him of Wes Welker back in the day. And that was exactly right.
So, Cud, to that point there, I was thinking how incredible it is what Tom Brady's been able to do over so many years with so many different assets around him. Like, he's never had because Peyton Manning had Marvin Harrison for years, and then he had Reggie Wayne when he was in Indianapolis for another 3 or 4 years maybe. Like, I feel like there's always kind of that one receiver, how Big Ben has Antonio Brown. I mean, Tom Brady, he has Gronk, but he's a tight end. He's not the deep threat, or you know what I mean? And even Gronk goes out in the first half, and the offense plays better in the second half without him. Edelman goes out in the middle of the year. Well, then Amendola comes up and basically replaces him, does the exact same thing. Like, whoever comes in to play that spot, Tom Brady makes them perform at a level that's good enough to win football games. And no matter who it is, it's really awesome to see what Tom Brady can do.
That's what impresses me about Tom Brady is he had Gronk go down. He didn't play the whole second half. He's got his best wide receiver, Julian Edelman, who didn't even play this year. He was out the whole year.
Oh, was that the whole year?
Yeah, he got hurt in the preseason. So, I mean, he's played all year with Chris Hogan and Danny Amendola and Philip Dorsett, and Gronk's been in and out of the lineup because he's been hurt. He's just incredible, and I'm so thankful to get to watch someone as great as him in my life, even though I'm a Jets fan and got to watch him beat the Jets twice a year. It's just fun to watch greatness, and the guy's incredible.
Yeah.
But to my next point, I told you guys that the NFL was not going to let the Jacksonville Jaguars win this game. Penalty count for this week. New England, Jacksonville, 6 penalties for 98 yards. New England, 1 penalty for 10 yards. What do you think about that, Hunter?
So, hear me out. Okay.
Horrible pass interference calls in that game.
That was the pass interference call at the end of the first half was bad.
Absolutely terrible.
But I understand why you call it. There's a lot of hand fighting going on. They're pushing each other, and the receivers on the inside part back to the football. I see why it gets called. I don't think it was pass interference, but I understand why you call it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I see why it could look like pass interference in the moment. But anyway, that was a bad call. They shouldn't have called it. But so how you said that New England only had 1 penalty.
1 penalty.
I think that has 2 parts to it. Okay, the first part is I think they're a really well-coached football team. And one trait of a well-coached football team, no penalties. You don't commit very many penalties. What's that?
Disciplined.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's part of it. And now this is the part that I want to get your thoughts on, Cam. So I think that as a referee, you give maybe bias is the right word towards really, really well-coached teams that have a history of being very, very good in any sport. I mean, you look at the best teams in the sport, in any sport, they get the most calls. So New England in football, we talk about Kansas in basketball, how they get so many calls. Well, Bill Self is one of the best in the business. Okay? Bama football gets a bunch of calls. They're the best. Golden State gets a crap load of calls. They're the best. I think it's like when you get pulled over for going 10 over the speed limit, if you have no tickets on your record, there's a decent chance you're going to get off with a warning. But if you have 6 tickets in the last 6 months, no chance you get off with a warning. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you have a history of doing what you're supposed to do, I think you get the benefit of the doubt, and I think that has a lot to do with it. So maybe the Patriots do get more calls, but I don't think it's rigged. I think it's just the fact. I
don't think it's rigged. And I want to say this. I'm not taking anything away from Tom Brady. He's great. The Patriots are great. But I'm just saying New England gets a lot of calls, and they have for years. They've had a lot of – I mean, they always win the penalty battle, and I know that has something to do with coaching.
No, so hold on now. So I was listening to Golick and Wingo this morning, and they talked about penalty count over the last – I can't remember the number of games. But before this game, they had more penalties called on them in the last 7 or 8 games, or maybe it was the season. I can't remember, but it was like 134 penalties to 132 penalties or something like that. Them versus their opponents. So I don't think it's like overly lopsided in either direction.
Well, the last 2 playoff games have been bad. The Titans, when they played them, I don't know what the penalty count was. Mm-hmm. But that was a poorly officiated game. And the one on Sunday wasn't a terribly officiated game, but there were some iffy calls.
I think they did a pretty good job officiating, except for that pass interference call.
And the last run of the game, Deion Lewis ran for 20 yards, and there was a blatant hold on New England that they missed, which allowed Lewis to hit the hole and go score. Now, yeah. I mean, I don't think Jacksonville was going to drive down the field and score anyway, but I agree with your point. I think big-time teams get more calls than, like, if the Packers are playing or the Cowboys are playing, they're going to get more calls than, let's say, the Browns because, I mean, it's just they have the prestige. And I don't know why that is, but it's just kind of how it works. Mason, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you, Cameron. I think it's just kind of like, man, come on. Like, it's just kind of disappointing sometimes to see. But I think, like, you can say, like under it's kind of might be us bias against the Patriots and stuff like that. But man, something like Cameron, I mean, like you were saying, some blatant calls, like and
Yeah.
so I mean that's disappointing to see, but also like what Hunter was saying, they're great, they're the best in the business, so they get a lot of attention, and I guess that's what gets them a little bit more calls or whatever it is. But yeah, I like to think though that the Jacksonville had no chance. I agree with Cameron.
I'm just saying the big time teams, they usually, like you were saying, they usually get the calls like Kansas basketball, Kentucky basketball, stuff like that. But let's move on to let's talk about the Eagles Vikings. What a disappointment this game was. Philadelphia.
Well, you called it last week. You said that Philadelphia was going to win because we all picked Minnesota.
Yeah. I'll say this before I talk about this game. My Cam's predictions are terrible. I went 0-2 last week. I took New England -7 or whatever it was, and the Eagles the Vikings +3. I flopped on that this year. So next year I've got to be better on my Cam's predictions. But anyway, Eagles 38-7 smoked the Vikings. It was in Philly. I think what hurt Minnesota is they were just hungover from such a crazy win last week. And I've noticed this in sports a lot. When teams have a miracle win like that, the next week they just lay an egg. Like
yes,
when A&M came back and had that miracle comeback against Northern Iowa in the NCAA tournament, they played OU the next week and they got beat by like 25. They didn't look like near the same team. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what it is. If you just run out of gas or you just can't beat that high that you get from the last week, you just kind of come out flat. And Case Keenum was terrible. He was 28 for 48 to 270 yards, but 86 of those yards were just little running back screen passes, and he had a touchdown and 2 picks. And Nick Foles, 26 for 33, 352 yards and 3 touchdowns. He destroyed a good Vikings defense, and I think it says a lot about Nick Foles. I don't think this game takes a lot away from Case Keenum. I've been seeing in the news how, Case Keenum, he doesn't deserve to get paid. He's not very good. That's not true. Case Keenum had a very good year. He got the Vikings to the NFC Championship, which no one thought he was supposed to. He was the 3rd string or 2nd string coming into this season. So I think both these guys deserve to get paid, and they both should be starting quarterbacks. I think it says a lot about Nick Foles getting this team to this point, and it says a lot about the Vikings to me. Not the Vikings, the Eagles. They've had their starting left tackle, Jason Peters, one of the best in the business, go down. They've had a few defensive injuries. They've had their quarterback get hurt. And they've had injuries all over that team, and they're going to the Super Bowl. I think that's amazing. So, Mason, you got any thoughts on the Eagles game or Case Keenum? Or?
Oh, yeah. First off, what I think happened is I think the Vikings and being on their 3rd string quarterback finally caught up to them. And I think, I'm not taking anything from what Case Keenum did this season. He had a hell of a year. But I think being on your 3rd string quarterback is very lucky in itself to just be at where Minnesota got this season. And Nick Foles, Cameron, he didn't do good. He did great against a very, very talented defense in Minnesota. And I thought it was just pure dominance for Philly. And Minnesota, I think that you were right, Cameron, that they couldn't relive that high after that incredible game against New Orleans. But in Philly, another stat I want to throw out was 10 for 14 on 3rd down.
Wow.
Yeah, they couldn't be stopped. I think that offense just wore down that defense because Case Keenum was just not doing it.
They just came out flat, and I don't know what it is, but after you have that miracle sports moment, the next week you just come out completely flat. Yeah. So Hunter, let me ask you this: if you're a sports franchise, would you want Case Keenum? Would you sign Case Keenum to a mega deal, like a 4-year, $70 million deal, or would you sign him to like a 1-year, $8 million deal and tell him to prove it? Like, prove me for your contract. What would you do if you're like the Broncos or somebody like that? Would you take the risk on Keenum?
If I had my way, I would just do the 1-year deal because there's no risk in that for you.
Yeah.
But But I would be open to a longer term deal. I don't think one game changes your opinion of a player that much. So, and that goes both ways. So I don't think the one bad game ruins Case Keenum's year, and I really don't think the one great game makes Nick Foles a great quarterback. I'm still not sold on Nick Foles, but that's not the point.
You're crazy.
What'd you say, Cut?
I said you're crazy. Nick Foles threw 7 touchdowns in a football game. He's good.
Yeah, that was like 4 years ago.
Did you see him the rest of the year this year, or the 4 or 5 games he played?
It took him a while to get going.
Yeah, I wouldn't be if I were a betting
good.
man. I would put money on he tanks in the Super Bowl, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, if actually that's now that you bring it up, that'd be awesome to see him go to the Broncos. That'd be a lot of fun to watch. I want to see teams like that. Like I like watching teams like the Jacksonvilles, the Denvers without a quarterback, but everything else I like watching it when they get a quarterback and get to kind of see what they can do. I would love to see him go to Denver. But
my thing with on another point, my thing with Nick Foles is everyone's saying this guy's a really confident guy, and he showed it this week in the NFC Championship. He didn't shy away from the big moment, and that's what I think. I don't think he's gonna buckle down in the Super Bowl. I think he's gonna play really well in the Super Bowl.
So I got a hypothetical for you.
Okay.
So let's say he throws for 340 yards, 4 touchdowns, and they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Now what? What do you do? If you're Philadelphia,
you tell Nick Foles, thank you for the Super Bowl. We'll see you later.
Exactly.
Do you trade him?
I don't know if he's going to be a free agent or what, but I'm not doing anything with him. I mean, I guess you could trade him.
Oh heck, you got to trade him, don't you?
Yeah, if you think you can get something out of it, I mean, you can.
Yeah,
you could just keep him as a backup.
In that situation, he would have just thrown for almost 350 2 games in a row and won a Super Bowl. Of course, you could get something for him.
Carson Wentz is going to be an MVP in this league.
I agree.
Multiple times, I think. There is that shouldn't even be a consideration. You tell Foles, thank you very much. We'll see you later, pal.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page with that one.
But I do think Nick Foles can be a good starter in the league, like an Alex Smith type starter. Same with Case Keenum. I think both of these quarterbacks can sustain a starting job.
I think Keenum's on another level than Nick Foles. I really do.
See, I don't know. I think they're the same quarterback, kind of game manager style. I think Nick Foles balled out on Sunday, but they're kind of the same. And Case Keenum has better weapons than Nick Foles does. Nick Foles didn't really have very good wide receiver core.
That's true.
Case Keenum's got Diggs and Thielen, and Rudolph's a good tight end. But y'all got anything else to add on the NFL playoffs before we move on?
That's all I got.
What about you, Mason?
Oh well, y'all were talking about quarterbacks. I say they signed Keenum to not like a mega deal, but they signed Keenum and then you get rid of Bradford. That's what I think I would do.
Talking about Minnesota.
That brings me to this. What do you do if you're Minnesota? You got 3 quarterbacks that can all play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Start Teddy Bridgewater and then have Case Keenum and then trade Bradford.
Wait a minute. Start Teddy Bridgewater.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He hadn't played in 2 years, Mason.
Yeah, but he's their guy. He's just been hurt.
Yeah, but he hasn't played football in 2. He's missed 2 whole football seasons. You just got to move on.
He'll be back.
No, for another team. He's not playing Minnesota next year.
Literally could not disagree more.
Minnesota's they're going to either start Bradford or Keenum. Teddy Bridgewater's not in the conversation, I don't think.
I could see Bridgewater starting over Sam Bradford, but Case Keenum just got you to the NFC Championship game. I think if he stays in Minnesota, he has the job.
My prediction for all 3 of them is 2 of those guys will not be on the team next year. One of them, they're going to pick one of those 3. And the other 2 are going to be playing somewhere else.
If they play their cards right, they could get Case Keenum's is he a free agent?
I'm not sure.
I think so, Hunter. He might be a 1-year deal.
If he's the free agent, I think they'd be okay with letting him go. No, I'm sorry, re-signing Case Keenum and then trading the other 2 to get some assets around him, just some more. Because, I mean, he's definitely a good enough quarterback, and they've already got a really good team around him. If they just throw in a couple more pieces, they'd be really hard to beat.
The thing with Sam Bradford is, though, they traded a first-round pick to get Bradford, so they're not going to they're not going to let him go for nothing. I mean, they put a lot in to get him.
Yeah,
last
but
season.
he's just going to sit on the bench. I mean, you're
Yeah.
not going to start him over Case Keenum, I don't think.
The rumor is it's down to those. They're going to pick one of those two, and they may let Bradford take the job.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, I don't understand that. But let's move on. Cud, give me your Cud's lost soul of the week for this week. I'm curious to know this because I couldn't figure it out. I was thinking about it earlier.
My lost soul of the week is the whole Milwaukee Bucks front office. They fired Jason Kidd for literally no reason at all midway through this season. And I mean, I texted Cameron when that happened. I was like, yeah, I just couldn't believe it. And throw out some stats. You know, Jason Kidd started in the 2014-2015 season, and his first season, they went 41-41. The season before that, the Bucks only won 15 games.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Cameron and Hunter, listen to this. That season, that was 41-41. That was when Jabari Parker had that ACL, his first injury, so he didn't even play that season. And I saw this interesting stat. He's the only coach in NBA history to take two NBA teams to the playoffs his first 2 years as a coach.
Wow.
Yeah. How crazy.
I mean,
like, he's a good coach. Like, and obviously the players like him, and he can what is the word? Connect with the players, because I mean, Jason Kidd was just playing. I mean, fairly not too that long ago.
Yeah, the Greek Freak went straight to the front office and was like, "What are you doing? Like, I want Jason Kidd to be our coach. And that's their best player."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kidd's been to the playoffs 3 of the 4 years he's been there, and the Bucks are not a great franchise.
No.
I mean, the Bucks should be very happy with making the playoffs, and he's been about 500 every year he's been there, except for his second year. But he's got some injuries, and they're starting to finally build a good team over there. Jabari Parker's going to be back. He's going to be back from his ACL. I mean, they're going to have the Greek Freak, Eric Bledsoe, Jabari Parker, Malcolm Brogdon. That's a good basketball team. And you fire them in the middle of the season when they have a chance to make some noise in the East. I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, NBA franchises are so quick to fire coaches, and it just sets your team back so far. And it drives me nuts.
Well, everybody has Golden State goggles. I mean,
yeah,
everybody. It's kind of like the SEC coaching
exactly,
or coaching the SEC with Nick Saban. If you're not Nick Saban, you're on the hot seat 24/7. And I guess in the NBA, if you can't compete with Golden State, then everybody thinks that there's a move they can make to put them on that level. When in reality, there's not that many moves out there. You know.
But I mean, they're going to finish the season with an interim coach, and they're going to be a decent team in the East. I mean, they're going to be a 5, 6, or 7 seed, and they compete. They play good. I mean, they could win a playoff series if they can get a 5 or 6 seed. But I don't know about now when you don't have your head coach anymore and your best player is mad at the front office. I mean, it's so dumb to me. And I agree with you, Cuz. Good lost soul of the week. Whole Bucks franchise. I like that. But let's move on. Let's talk about the All-Star game and the hot topic about the All-Star draft. So you've got LeBron and Steph are team captains. Do y'all think the NBA All-Star draft should be televised? Mason, I'll let you go ahead.
I mean, I think it'd be cool, and it'd be a way for the NBA to make some more money. But I mean, honestly, I don't really care if it is or not. I mean, my whole thing with the All-Star thing, I mean, I think it's really cool because all the superstars and best players in the entire world are at one place, playing the game. And I think it's kind of cool, but I just wish it was competitive. Like, how cool would it be to actually sit down and watch 5-on-5 of like in the past years, Kobe on LeBron? Could you imagine watching a game with? I mean, they play each other and stuff in the regular season, but with everybody else around them, like, I just wish it would be so competitive. But it's just kind of lazy now. But that's what
it's just hard for those players to gear up for because they play 82 games in a season. and
No,
they're playing back to backs. But no, I agree with you. It'd be so much fun to watch if the All-Star game was competitive and they played good defense because all the players playing in it are incredible basketball players, and that's a lot of talent in one gym.
best players in the world.
So that brings me to this. The All-Star reserves came out yesterday. And for the East, the reserves, Al Horford, Kevin Love, Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo, Kristaps Porzingis, John Wall, and Bradley Beal. And in the West, you got Karl Anthony Towns, Russell Westbrook, Jimmy Butler, LaMarcus Aldridge, Damian Lillard finally got in the All-Star game, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. My biggest problem with this is I think fan voting is terrible. I mean, it's really a popularity contest, and there were some good players that got left off, in my opinion. I don't see how the Warriors get 4 players in the All-Star game. I don't think any team deserves to have 4 players. I think Lou Williams deserved to be in the All-Star game ahead of Klay Thompson. Lou Williams averaging 23 points a game and 5 assists off the bench, and Klay's averaging 20 points and 4 assists. So I mean, Lou Will's got better stats, and he's carrying the Clippers, who are really struggling right now. And Klay's the 4th best player on the Warriors. I mean, it's just a popularity contest to me. And in the East, I think Andre Drummond was a borderline starter in the East. He's averaging 14 points, 15 boards, 4 assists. I mean, he is dominating in the East right now. He's a great center. And the fact that the Wizards got two guys in, Bradley Beal and John Wall, Wizards are awful. I mean, they got beat by the Mavs by 25 2 nights ago. They just don't show up sometimes. And Al Horford got in. I think he's averaging 13 points a game and like 7 rebounds. So I don't know. It's just a popularity contest to me, and I think there's some good players that deserve to get in that didn't get in. So Mason, what do you think about the All-Star voting? And let me ask you this: who do you think got snubbed from the All-Star game? Who do you think should have been in, or who shouldn't have got in?
I think 100% who got snubbed the most is Lou Williams by a mile. And on top of the stuff that you were just saying is that I read an article today, or if you go to Klay Thompson's tweet, he hints, like, read between the lines, that Steph, the team captain, picked Klay on the team.
Well, Steph didn't pick the reserves. I mean, he's talking about just drafting to his team.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they picked him for the team. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, it just, like you said, they have 4 players. Like, come on, like,
no team deserves 4 players. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's crap. And then, like you said, Al Horford, and Andre Drummond has been an animal this year. Tonight, he actually got what did he get, Cameron? 30
points, 24 boards, and 6 blocks, and that guy's not in the All-Star game.
24 rebounds.
Yeah, he's an animal.
Cow.
Yeah, and 6 blocks.
He's one of the best centers in the NBA, and it's a shame he didn't get in because it's a popularity contest. But
those are my West and East snubs.
So you agree with me on my snubs, Lou Will and Andre Drummond?
Yeah.
What about you, Hunter? You think they got it right, or?
Well, so I want to throw in something about the draft. This would never happen, just for a lot of reasons. But what I would love to see is just get everybody. There are no starters, no nothing. Just get everybody on the court who got enough votes to become an all-star, and just do it like a pickup game. I mean, just draft right there on the court, and then you play a game. Now that'd be kind of cool. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Just get everybody to line up like you're in 5th grade PE class, and you get LeBron and Steph out there saying, "No, you're on my team. You're on my team."
That'd be really cool.
I would love to watch that. But that would never happen because then there's no fanfare of like, oh, who's on this team, and then talking about the soap opera that is the NBA with all the stupid cat fights that go on.
Yeah.
Everybody. But I would love to watch it like that.
That's a cool idea. I really like All-Star Weekend. I like the dunk contest.
Oh, I do too.
And the 3-point contest. My thing is the All-Star Game's my 3rd favorite event that goes on the whole weekend. It's just because it's 220 to 190 or something. It's just
it's really impressive though. I love it.
Oh yeah. I mean, those guys are Those guys are incredible, and that's what makes the NBA so cool. It's such a star-driven league,
Mm-hmm.
and you get the best of the best playing, except for Andre Drummond should be in this All-Star game. It drives me crazy that he's not. I hate it. But let's keep talking about the NBA here. Let's talk about the Cavs. The Cavs are a dumpster fire right now. They're 27-19. They're third in the East, but a LeBron-driven team should not be third. I mean, that's rare territory for LeBron. I'd be shocked if they did end up being a 3 seed, but they held an emotional meeting, is what they called it, about Kevin Love leaving the Thunder game on Saturday because he was ill. They gave up 148 points to the Thunder, who are not a very good shooting team. And they got beat by the Spurs last night by what, 15, 20, Mason, is what it was?
I think 12.
And the Spurs haven't been playing very good basketball lately. So the Cavs have got big problems. LeBron's been calling out his teammates. So Ty Lue came out this morning and said he's going to change the way the roster is, the starting five. I think the Cavs have lost 6 of the last 7 games. I mean, they've got huge problems. So, Hunter, what do you think the Cavs need to do to get things going again and get LeBron back to another finals?
So I don't think there's anything they can do to beat Golden State. I really don't.
No one can beat Golden State.
And it's no secret that LeBron wants to win another championship, and it's getting pretty clear that that's not going to happen in Cleveland. So I think he's going to leave after this year. I think they'd be. I don't think there's any way they trade LeBron. Or I've heard people talking about that, and I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's any way that would happen, because anywhere LeBron goes, he's going to leave that team after this year anyway. So who's going to trade basically everything that they would have to get LeBron just for 5 months? That's just anyway. But I think they need to start preparing. The Cavs need to start preparing for after the Warriors' reign is over, because it's not like it's going to last forever. You know, you got to think in 2, 3, or 4 years, some of those guys are going to get tired of not being the guy, and the team's going to break up, and then they'll still be a good basketball team, but I don't think they'll be dominant like they are now. I mean, you can't, because you lose 2 or 3 of those pieces, and you're just a normal NBA team. And so if the Cavs can make a pretty good trade at the trade deadline, and maybe instead of trying to get like the blockbuster guy, maybe just trying to get some younger guys, some young talent or something. And I know LeBron probably won't like that, but it's kind of LeBron's fault because he's not committing to him. Now, if he were to go to the front office and say, hey, I'm in this for the long haul, I want to sign a 4-year deal, let's get something done, let's try and get the big name player to give me 2 or 3 more years of trying to get the championship here. But he won't do that. And so they need to start preparing for after he leaves. So trade for a young guy, it's the Nets pick they have, right?
Yeah, which will be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, so use that pick. Hopefully it hits. Get a good stud young guy in the draft. There you got 2 really young guys. And then maybe get kind of a young-ish guy in free agency in the next year or 2. And there you have it, your competitive basketball team for the next 5 to 8 years. But I don't think there's nothing they can do to beat Golden State. And yeah, getting to the finals is great and all, but at the end of the day, that means nothing if you're LeBron James. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. The Cavs' problem to me is they're old.
Yeah, exactly.
Dwayne Wade's way past his prime. LeBron's getting up there. He's got beat up Derrick Rose, Jose Calderon, J.R. Smith. I mean, I think it's time for the Cavs to maybe rebuild. And I've got a great theory here that I think has a small chance of happening. Hunter, I think the Cavs would be smart to do this. I think the Cavs should trade LeBron to the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard.
Why would the Spurs do that?
Have you not seen the news lately? Kawhi Leonard wants out of San Antonio.
Yeah, but why would they trade for LeBron James when he's just going to leave after the year?
No, you trade for LeBron and you make sure that he's going to come back like the Celtics did with Kyrie.
I don't think you can. I think LeBron's the one guy that you can't negotiate. Like, hey, we'll only take you if you stay after this year.
I think LeBron wants to play for a good coach. He's never had a good coach in his career. Like Cub's been talking about that a lot lately.
I don't know. I don't think.
I don't know. I think LeBron has always kind of ran the team because he's never really had a great coach, and he may want to finish his career with a good coach. But I think the only way for the Spurs to get LeBron, they have to give up Kawhi, who sounds like he wants out. And I think the Cavs GM, if he has any sense, would see that the Cavs are not very good this year. LeBron's probably not coming back. Trade him. Let's get something for him. Get Kawhi Leonard.
It makes all the sense in the world to trade LeBron James, but nobody in their right mind would trade their best, at least one player, probably their best two players, to get LeBron for 5 months. That's just.
But you don't know if he's gonna. He could stay in San Antonio, and I think if he did get traded to San Antonio, I think he would stay there.
I don't think he would, because how's he going to win a championship without Kawhi Leonard? Like, he's not going to stay somewhere after this year if there's not a really, really good chance of him winning a championship.
Yeah, that's true. But where's he going to go?
He's going to sign somewhere in free agency where they don't have to give up everything they have to get him. So he's going to go join an existing team instead of swapping places with somebody.
If LeBron doesn't go to the Spurs, he's going to go to the Lakers with Paul George.
See, I've been hearing a lot of the Houston talk, where he's going to go play in Houston.
I don't see how Houston could afford that, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's my theory: LeBron for Kawhi, and if it happens, I'm the biggest genius ever. If it happens. But Mason, what do you think about LeBron, and what do you think he's going to do next, or about the Cavs, or what do you think?
Well, the Cavs are just as a team a mess. I mean, none of us will ever know, what's going on in the locker room. But, look, I got faith in LeBron and D Wade. Those guys have been around. They've done it. They've won championships. They know how to do it. But like Hunter was saying, the time's running out for Cleveland of fixing whatever they got going, especially with the trade deadline, around the corner. Somebody's going to get dealt off the Cavaliers. So whether that benefits their team or not, I don't really know if they have enough time, or I don't really know. But that's what I think about the Cavs. And Cameron, yes, all this time I've been telling y'all, LeBron's coming to the Spurs, baby.
Well, I told you on the show. Oh, go ahead, Hunter. Go ahead.
Cud, you're a Spurs fan.
Yes.
Would you trade LeBron, or would you trade Kawhi for LeBron?
Negatory.
I wouldn't think so, because there's no guarantee he stays.
But Mason's insane. He thinks the Spurs can have Kawhi and LeBron, and that's not going to happen.
That could happen in free agency, but that couldn't happen in a trade.
No, it couldn't, because the Spurs couldn't afford it, and he thinks that the Cavs would take LaMarcus Aldridge for LeBron, and that's not going to happen.
That's
no.
Yeah, he's brainwashed, Hunter.
No. For whoever's listens to this, Cameron's in left field. He's lost. No, Cameron, I'm not saying trade LaMarcus for LeBron straight up. Obviously, that's a horrible trade.
Well, then how are you going to get LeBron to the Spurs with Kawhi?
Because Kawhi's on a deal right now, and LaMarcus wants out, so we're going to trade him. He's getting $21 million.
LaMarcus doesn't want out. That was a preseason rumor that's died off. He's playing really well this year, too. I don't think he wants to leave.
Okay, so let's see. Do you trade LaMarcus and somebody else to get LeBron? Is that what you're saying?
Who are they going to trade?
LaMarcus is $20 million.
Yeah, are they going to trade Manu? He's in a freaking wheelchair now.
No, Cameron.
The Spurs have no assets.
Tony Parker's getting paid $15 million too. The Spurs got money here within the next year.
They're going to have to unload the bank to get LeBron, Mason.
So you're talking about in free agency, not with the trade.
And also, I have a theory that LeBron would take some sort of pay cut to come to the Spurs. If that would mean, yes, I agree. I think that he's not. I wouldn't say not about all the money, because he gets so much money, but I feel like that he has so much money, he would come for a lesser amount to come play for Coach Pop and Kawhi or in his system, something that he's never had. I think that he could be really dive into that, and I'm all in. I think we're going to get LeBron.
Well, I called you crazy on the last show for saying that the Spurs aren't going to get LeBron. You said the Spurs are going to get him. I said you're crazy, but I don't know. I'm starting to kind of warm up to the idea. I think it's got some kind of possibility. I will say, if LeBron leaves the Cavs and he goes to a team that doesn't have a good coach, then LeBron likes it. He likes it like that. He likes to be able to run the team, because I mean, if he goes to the Lakers with Luke Walton, I mean, I think he just likes being in control and just doesn't want to be told what he needs to do. Because Ty Lue's not telling LeBron what to do. Pop will tell LeBron what to do and get on it. But I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts on the Cavs. And maybe they don't trade LeBron, but I think LeBron's either going to go to the Spurs or the Lakers. I don't think he's going to stay in Cleveland. I think the Cleveland era is over, and they're about to start rebuilding. But let's move on. Let's do our Power Five. Power Five sports. Our Power Five favorite sports analyst and talk show host. I'll let you start.
Okay, so I've got a pretty simple 5. My number 5 on the list, Tony Kornheiser from PTI.
Ooh, good pick.
Number 4, Mike Greenberg. Was on Mike and Mike. I haven't seen him anywhere since Mike and Mike, but he's got a new show in a couple months. Number 3 is the man Will Kane. Will Kane show. He's the man. I love Will Kane. Number 2, Scott Van Pelt. Started with Golf Channel, so I'm kind of biased towards my golf fans there, but I love Scott Van Pelt. I like turn on the TV. What time does this show start? 11?
Yeah, whenever the last sporting event happens that night, then he's on afterwards.
He's the man. And then number 1 is Ryan Russillo. Come back, Russillo, please. He's gone. It makes me sad. But I love Russillo. He's the man.
So I have my 5. My number 5 cut you'll like this. I got Ernie Johnson at number 5. TNT Ernie. I like him a lot. He's really good. And number 4, I have Mike Greenberg. Rest in peace to Mike and Mike.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing Greenberg's new show. And number 3, Will Kane. I like Will Kane's new show. He's very honest and he's very reasonable guy, and that's kind of why I like him. He's to the point. And number 2, Scott Van Pelt. Like you said, I like how he started in golf, and I like his night show. Bad Beats is the best segment on television. And number 1, to no one's surprise, would be Colin Cowherd. I watch his show every day when I eat my PB&J for lunch. So that would be my top 5. So Mason, you got anything for us on your Power 5?
I don't have 5 because I don't really keep up and watch a daily type thing like you were talking about, Cameron, with a certain show. But I would say it's going to go to number 3. Number 3, I love the whole TNT crew. They're funny and they're cool guys, and they were all legends when they played. So number 2, Mike Greenberg. He's the man. I miss that guy. And then number 1, Scott Van Pelt, because I'm always up at night, so I like to watch Scott Van Pelt because he'll show me all the highlights. And then you got Bad Beats, and then he's a cool guy too. So I would say Scott Van Pelt is the number 1 for me.
Scott Van Pelt just seems like the coolest guy on ESPN. I've never met anybody who doesn't like Scott Van Pelt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Let's talk about the MLB Hall of Fame. Just got announced today. 4 players got in. Chipper Jones, Jim, I'm going to butcher this, but I think it's Tomey. Is that how you say his last name?
Jim Tomey. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have Trevor Hoffman and Vladimir Guerrero were the 4 guys that got in. So Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, I believe it's their 6th year on the ballot, and they had 56% around there in votes, and you have to get 75% to get in. So, Hunter, I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you think Barry Bonds or Clemens deserve to get in the Hall of Fame?
I'm going to say yes, actually. And I used to be in the camp of, no, you took steroids. No, you don't deserve it. But, there was probably a vast majority of players, probably still are, taking steroids in Major League Baseball. And the way I see it, if they could still stand out, I get they cheated. I get it. Okay? That's bad. But a lot of guys cheated, and they were still head and shoulders better than everybody else, while the majority of players were on steroids. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
so
no.
It's not like they were the only 2 players on steroids, and that's why they were better.
Right.
So I think at judging the Hall of Fame as what it is, a baseball museum. You go there to see some of the best players to ever play the game of baseball. I think that looking at it like that, they have to be in it. But with the steroid stuff. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Here's my take on it. Barry Bonds is the leading home run hitter of all time. What does he have? 756 home runs?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. But he's your home run leader. And I just don't see how you leave the guy out. Here's my theory. I think you should let him in, even if you're busted with roids, but I think you should have an asterisk by your name. And it should say, maybe convicted of steroid using or whatever. But Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds are some of the greatest baseball players of my lifetime. And those are Hall of Fame baseball players, whether they use the roids or not. But
why not add like a wing to the Hall of Fame of steroid users that aren't officially in the Hall of Fame, but where they kind of get like a little section of, like, just viewing it as a museum, they get their own deal over to the side, like the asterisk that you talk about, so where they still get recognized and everything, but at the end of the day, everybody knows, like, oh, well, you cheated to do this.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the snub of all snubs was Pete Rose. I mean, you talk about not getting it. I mean, the guy didn't even. I mean, yeah, what did he get busted for? Gambling on sports?
He got busted on gambling on his own games, I think, or gambling on baseball.
He never gambled on a game that he played in.
That was never proven, though.
Well, yeah, okay. Regardless, he did nothing to boost his own performance.
Right. No, he should be in the Hall of Fame, one of the best hitters of all time.
Yeah, I mean, that's absurd to me.
I think the Baseball Hall of Fame voting's crap as it is, but
yeah, there are too many people that just kind of view baseball as like this holy grail of sports.
Yeah, they're still stuck in the past.
Yeah, exactly. But that's all I have to say about it.
Mason, you got anything to add? What do you think? You think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame? Think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame?
I think 100% yes, they should be. But they did, cheat or things like that. But they're legends. I mean, everybody knows who Pete Rose and Barry Bonds is.
Yeah.
And hey, I want to give a shout out to my man Kurt Schilling was on the ballot. He got
was this his first year on the ballot?
No, sixth.
What? His 6th year?
Yeah, that's what it says right here. I'm looking at it.
Well, I mean, he didn't get in the Hall of Fame.
No, I know he was on the ballot though. He got 51%.
Wow, I thought Kurt Schilling would have a chance to get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, I was kind of thinking the same thing.
But I mean, I think it's sad that your sport, you have the home run leader by what is it, 30, 40 home runs? He's not even getting the Hall of Fame. It's just baseball is just kind of corrupt, and it's just really, really strange to me.
Cameron, go ahead. Barry Bonds is on his 6th year on the ballot too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're running out of time. You only get 10 years on the ballot, and I mean, how you don't let Pete Rose in? I mean, I think they were. It goes back to the Black Sox thing where they bet on their own game to lose because they could make more money gambling on it. I mean, I think Pete Rose is banned because they might think that he threw some baseball games. I don't think he did. I think the guy was just betting on some baseball games and got caught for doing so. But he shouldn't be banned from the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's the all-time hit leader. He didn't get busted for steroids, nothing. So yeah. I don't understand that.
I understand the argument for steroids.
Yeah,
like I get the argument for steroids because like that's directly boosting your performance, but gambling on baseball games doesn't. That's just something that you do like to kill time,
Yeah, right.
But oh well.
But it's weird to me. But congrats to those four for getting in. Those are 4 great players, man. Chipper Jones was a heck of a player growing up.
Dude, how about Vlad? Sneaky
Vlad,
Ranger there at the end of his career.
Yeah. He was the Rangers DH for a couple years.
That's right, when he couldn't even walk.
Yeah, he was old at that time.
He could still hit anything.
But let's finish off with our last segment of the day, Hunter. Give us your Hunter's golf tape. Tigers back this week, baby. So talk to us about that.
Actually, a pretty big week last week at the Career Builder Challenge, which I didn't really expect much out of. But John Rahm beat Andrew Landry in a playoff. Second week in a row there was a playoff, which is kind of rare. But now John Rahm, I said a couple weeks ago, he moved up to number 3 in the world. Now he's number 2 in the world, and he can take over as number 1 in the world this week.
Wow.
So he is skyrocketing up the world rankings. But so you'd think, chance for a new young guy to take over world number 1 to be the leading story going into Torrey Pines, where John Rahm won last year. But no. because Tiger's back. And he's not just back, but he's actually back this time. This isn't one of those where, well, we think Tiger's going to be okay, but his game looks horrible and he can't chip. And no, he's back. His swing is back. His back is healthy. I think this is it. I think this is the time when Tiger gets back to winning. I'd be shocked if Tiger doesn't win by the end of this year.
All right, Hunter, I got a prediction for you. You ready for this?
Give it to me.
Tiger Woods wins this weekend.
I believe it. I mean, I know this is just blind optimism on my part because about 2 weeks ago I was saying that if you give Tiger 2 healthy seasons, then I think he wins on the PGA Tour. And the more I think about it, and the more I see people hype him up on Twitter, I'm just thinking, man, he can win this week. He didn't need 2 seasons. He's going to win this week. But then now I say he's probably going to go out and miss the cut and have the Blake Bortles effect, and I'm just going to curse him. But
no, I promise you he'll be in contention this week. He owns Torrey Pines.
Yeah, he's won on that golf course 8 times.
So I mean, I think at the absolute least he'll be in contention. But I think he's going to win. I think that'd be so good for the game of golf too.
I would literally cry tears. I would cry tears if Tiger Woods won this week.
That would be incredible. I'd love that. But all right, boys, it was fun. That's all we got today. We'll be back next time. 903 Sports, baby.